on the free Odyssey app.
AccuWeather says going to be mild and pleasant again today. Sunshine, maybe a cloud or two around, no big deal. High around 56 degrees. Come on, spring, bring it on. More people get their news from 1010 Wins than from any other radio station in the nation. Phil Pilato's our service aide. Martin Untroib's our writer. Justin Schrager's at the editor's desk. I'm Scott Stanford.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good morning. 43 degrees. It is 8 o'clock on this Wednesday, February 26th. I'm Susan Richard. Here's what's happening. Mayor Adams to take part in a Democratic candidates forum tonight as Andrew Cuomo tops the latest poll. Elon Musk among those to attend the first Trump cabinet meeting today. A man on a bike struck and killed by a city bus in Melrose. Another close call between two airplanes, this time at Midway Airport in Chicago. And some talented figure skaters in Harlem hoping a new Disney Plus docuseries will help them find a permanent ice skating rink. In sports, Rangers beat the Islanders. AccuWeather, beautiful day, sunshine mixing with some patchy clouds, the high 56. Winds News Time 8:01. Let's check the roads and rails, traffic and transit with Sue Aller.
Only one lane is getting by in Queens on the eastbound side of the LIE at Greenpoint Avenue with a collision. Delays go all the way back to the Midtown Tunnel, and on the westbound side, completely jammed. You want to stick with the Grand Central both ways. Good news in the Bronx, southbound Major Deegan Expressway. That accident by Van Cortlandt Park has been cleared away. Bad news in Manhattan on the southbound side of the West Side Highway, or right around Houston Street. Bumper-to-bumper delays because of a northbound crash right in that area, and delays go back to Canal Street. It looks like two lanes are closed on the northbound side. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Inbound George, an hour to the upper level. Lower level is better. That is 35 minutes. We're still looking at 20 inbound at the Lincoln and 40 at the inbound side of the Holland Tunnel from the Pulaski Skyway approach. Looks like the Newark Bay Extension approach is better, just 25 minutes. Now in New Jersey, two lanes are closed on Route 78 westbound at exit 29. A flipped over car. Two left lanes are blocked. It is stop and go. You might want to stick with 287. I'm Sue Aller. Next report at 8:11. 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
As the Democratic candidates for mayor get ready for their first face-to-face in Tribeca, Andrew Cuomo, who's not even officially running, tops a new poll.
Reports swirling of Cuomo's potential mayoral campaign announcement set to come this weekend or next. But at tonight's forum, political consultant Hank Scheinkopf says the other candidates most likely won't play it safe.
It's possible that the candidates will spend their time in that debate instead of attacking each other, attacking former Governor Cuomo. Why? To show that they can take him on.
Consultant Chris Coffey says the reason is simple.
Andrew Cuomo is going to have a compelling case that he was able to build LaGuardia and JFK and do marriage equality and do Fight for 15. He has a record that he can run on. People are looking for a mayor. They're really looking for, it's like a visceral choice that they're making, like someone that you're inviting into your living room for the next 4 years.
Now, Mayor Adams, not favorable to most voters, as recent polls show, but he's pressing on.
Is the city safer? He's got to prove it. Is it more livable? He's got to prove it. Are we better off than we were when he became mayor? He's going to have to prove that.
Now, the candidates are set to discuss a slew of issues, including affordability, housing, and health care. Amanda Alexander, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM at the Tribeca Performing Arts Center.
A new survey from the Honan Strategy Group found Cuomo has a 26% advantage over the rest of the pack. He got 38% of the vote. Queens Assembly member Zohran Mamdani coming in second, 12%. And Mayor Adams coming in third with 10. Tonight's forum to be hosted by District Council 37, the city's largest union. There was a fatal accident involving a city bus last night in the Bronx. That was around 10:30. A 57-year-old man riding a bike was hit outside 521 East 149th Street. That's in Melrose. The bus did stay on scene. No charges filed against the driver. One of the men convicted of killing Run DMC legend Jam Master Jay was stabbed in prison. Reports say this happened over the weekend at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. That's where Carl Jordan was involved in a fight, apparently, involving rival gangs. He and another guy both hospitalized. So far, there's no official confirmation on this, and the U.S. Attorney's Office has declined to comment. President Trump to hold his first cabinet meeting today, and guess who's going to be there? Yep.
While cabinet meetings are typically only attended by presidential appointed cabinet secretaries and the White House chief of staff, press secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed Elon Musk will be there, despite not being an appointed or elected member of the government.
Elon, considering he is working alongside the president and our cabinet secretaries, will be in attendance.
She says he'll discuss
DOJ's efforts and how all of the cabinet secretaries are identifying waste, fraud, and abuse at their respective agencies.
As correspondent Stacey Lynn, this comes following the mass confusion over the Musk order to federal workers to email their 5 accomplishments from last week or consider themselves having quit.
The White House says more than 1 million federal workers have responded to the email. But Gregory Bell, a Navy veteran who works as a medical records specialist at the Department of Defense, is not one of them. His agency told workers to hold off.
A lot of people they're scared because they don't know what could come next.
Many workers reluctant to speak on camera for fear of losing their jobs.
It's just a lot for me and my family to deal with alone because I feel like we kind of became public enemy number 1 overnight.
And more than 21 computer engineers and project managers who worked with DOJ resigning in protest.
That's Mary Bruce, those 21 DOJ staffers saying they would not be part of dismantling critical public services. Hamas set to return the bodies this week of another 4 Israelis in exchange for Israel releasing hundreds more Palestinian prisoners. This to come just days before the first phase of the ceasefire is to expire. Israel, meantime, delayed releasing some 600 Palestinians since Saturday in protest of Hamas parading both the living and deceased in large public ceremonies. They've apparently agreed to stop doing that. Thousands of Israelis gathered today for a funeral for Shiri Bibas and her sons Ariel and Kafir. One song that played at the funeral, Roman Sky by Avenged Sevenfold. The Bibas family was abducted from their kibbutz on October 7th. They were killed in Gaza. Their remains were handed over by Hamas last week in what included a mix-up with the body of a Palestinian woman. In the West Bank, Israel is expanding its military operations in the area days after sending tanks to the region for the first time in decades.
Palestinian Health Ministry says that so far at least 70 Palestinians have been killed and hundreds have been detained. The Israeli Defense Forces say that they believe they were terrorists and that they were planning terrorist activities. Now, the Israeli military also destroyed homes, bombing and bulldozing them in refugee camps in Jenin and Tulkarm in the West Bank. They also believe that those are terrorist infrastructures. The Israeli government say they don't want another October 7th scenario.
That's correspondent Lama Hassan. Another airplane scare, this time at Chicago's Midway Airport. A Southwest Airlines passenger jet was starting to land when it spotted a small business jet crossing the runway in the distance. Well, the Southwest flight aborted the landing to avoid a collision.
As they climbed, they cleared that business jet by about 250 feet, according to preliminary flight data. Now, the FAA and NTSB is investigating this close call, but it appears, according to the FAA, that the business jet taxied across the runway without proper permission.
That's correspondent Chris Van Cleve. The larger jet did a couple of fly-arounds and then landed safely. 43 degrees, sunny skies, the humidity 65%, the winds are northwest at 8. We're at 43. We're heading up to a partly sunny 56 today in Central Park. A protest outside the Brooklyn Museum over cuts being made as they face a $10 million deficit.
They lost their jobs and now they're rallying to get them back.
They are looking to lay off 47 positions.
Dozens of people laid off at the Brooklyn Museum protesting ahead of a VIP event being held here. Wilson Souffrant, a painter of 28 years, says these layoffs directly violated their contract.
I'm asking the museum to sit back with us and ask for the contract and to stop the layoff.
Joelle Selexon, an editor at the Brooklyn Museum the past 3 years, feels blindsided.
It does feel really sudden. I think the feeling that a lot of us have been sharing is betrayal and maybe disgust.
Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM outside the Brooklyn Museum.
Well, spring's right around the corner, but some New York City restaurant owners say they have yet to be approved for outdoor dining. The licenses are issued by the Comptroller's Office and reviewed by the DOT, but apparently there's a huge backlog. Andrew Ridgie, who heads the NYC Hospitality Alliance, tells 1010 Wins restaurant owners need answers and fast.
The city council made the program seasonal, and because of the seasonality, it means that restaurants need to purchase their outdoor dining. They can set it up for the warmer months, but then when November hits, They need to break down their roadway streetery. They need to put it in storage, which is extremely expensive.
Well, the DOT says some of the restaurants that have applied and cleared certain steps in the process will get conditional approval to open by April 1st, but the owners say it's too risky to spend so much money building the sheds without final approval. If you take the 7 train, new access for you at Grand Central.
MTA construction crews blasted through 1,000 tons of rock and dirt to help create a brand new passageway and staircase leading to the 7 train platform at Grand Central. Chairman Jano Lieber says the project made some history.
It was all done using these controlled low-velocity detonations, a technique that had never been done in the subway before.
Jamie Torres Springer runs construction and development.
That huge bottleneck that everybody's experienced transferring from the 7 to the 456 or vice versa, that's going to be relieved by this great new passageway.
Mac Rosenberg, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.